Why do we procrastinate? It's a question that haunts millions of people every single day. You sit down to work on that important project, but suddenly you're 3 hours deep into cat videos on YouTube. Sound familiar? Here's the uncomfortable truth. 90% of students procrastinate. 90%. And of those, 25% are chronic procrastinators, meaning this behavior doesn't just affect their work quality, it damages their self-perception and mental health. But here's what most people don't understand. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's not a character flaw. It's actually a complex psychological phenomenon that reveals something fascinating about how our brains work. Let me blow your mind for a second. Scientists put procrastinators inside MRI machines and asked them to imagine themselves 3 months from now. You know what they found? When chronic procrastinators tried to visualize their future selves, their brains lit up the same way as when they imagined a complete stranger. Think about that. Their future self wasn't even real to them. It was like thinking about some random person they'd never met. Meanwhile, people who don't procrastinate could clearly see the connection between who they are today and who they'll be in 3 months. They had what scientists call temporal continuity. This is huge, because if your future self feels like a stranger, why would you do anything to help them? But it gets deeper. We need to talk about culture, because not all procrastination is created equal. In Eastern cultures, particularly in Japan, people procrastinate because they're perfectionists. They want to deliver the absolute best work possible, but they know they don't have enough time, so the anxiety paralyzes them. This often leads to depression. In Western cultures, especially in America, procrastination is driven by performance anxiety. You need to produce fast, produce more, get it done now. This creates a different kind of stress that leads to chronic anxiety instead of depression. Same behavior, completely different psychological roots. And here's where it gets really interesting from an evolutionary perspective. Scientists studied twins, identical and fraternal, to figure out if procrastination has a genetic component. The results? 46% of procrastination behavior is genetic, nearly half. But before you use that as an excuse, remember that 54% is environmental, meaning you actually have control over it. The genetic part is linked to impulsivity. And here's the evolutionary kicker. Being impulsive was actually adaptive for our ancestors. When you're a hunter-gatherer, you don't have long-term goals like, what college should I attend? You're thinking about your next meal, today's dinner, tomorrow's breakfast. People who prioritize short-term rewards survived. But in modern society, where we live longer and need to plan decades ahead, that same impulsive trait becomes a liability. Now, let's talk about something nobody wants to hear, but everyone needs to understand. If you grew up poor, in a financially unstable environment, you're statistically more likely to be a chronic procrastinator. Why? Because when you live on the edge, when resources are scarce, your brain learns to grab immediate rewards because the future is uncertain. That survival mechanism gets wired into your neural pathways during critical developmental years. So even if you improve your situation later, get a good job, achieve financial stability, you're still carrying that psychological baggage. The procrastination persists. And this creates a vicious cycle because chronic procrastination literally affects your body. Studies show that chronic procrastinators have irregular heart rates and high blood pressure, even when they eat well and exercise. The constant stress rewires your physiology. But here's where the internet makes everything worse. To be classified as true procrastination, an activity needs 3 characteristics. It has to be counterproductive, it has to be time-consuming, and it has to be unnecessary. Social media checks all 3 boxes perfectly. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they're procrastination machines engineered to keep you scrolling. And the data backs this up. We've gone from procrastination being a minor behavioral quirk to a full-blown crisis in modern society. So what do we do about it? Because complaining about the problem doesn't solve anything. First, understand that procrastination is a failure of self-regulation. It's the same mechanism that makes a kid choose 1 marshmallow now instead of 2 marshmallows later. When you're anxious about the future, Uncertain about your ability to complete a task, your brain defaults to small, immediate rewards. The cat video, the snack, the scroll through social media. It's a coping mechanism. The solution requires two things working together: individual action and environmental support. You can't fix one without the other. On the individual level, you need to break large tasks into smaller chunks. This is crucial. When you complete small tasks, you get little hits of accomplishment that build momentum. Use time boxing, work in focused sprints. Remove your phone from the environment when you need deep focus. Literally put it in another room. And if you're someone who can't visualize your future self, practice. Spend time actually imagining yourself 3 months from now, a year from now. Make that person real in your mind. But individuals can only do so much if the environment is toxic. If you're a manager, a teacher, anyone who leads people, listen up. Stop giving vague, massive projects with distant deadlines. Break everything down. Give frequent feedback. Create checkpoints. Use what some companies call sprints, focused work sessions where phones are literally confiscated and people work on one thing at a time. This isn't about being controlling. It's about creating an environment where people's brains can actually function optimally. And here's something critical that nobody talks about. Many people procrastinate because they see no meaning in their work. When your job feels pointless, when you're just a cog in a machine, when you don't understand how your effort connects to any larger purpose, procrastination becomes inevitable. It's not a character flaw. It's a rational response to an irrational situation. The ancient Greeks wrote about procrastination. Hesiod, 700 years before Christ, dedicated an entire section of his work to this topic. This isn't new. But what is new is the scale. The internet, social media, the gig economy, the erosion of job security, the constant performance pressure, these are amplifying a problem that's always existed in human psychology. So here's the bottom line. If you procrastinate occasionally, you're normal. If you procrastinate chronically and it's affecting your health, your relationships, your self-worth, you might need therapy. There's no shame in that. Procrastination is a symptom, not the disease. The disease is usually anxiety, depression, or living in an environment that's fundamentally incompatible with human psychology. Stop beating yourself up. Start examining the systems you're trapped in. Fix what you can control and demand better from the environments you can't. Because at the end of the day, we're not lazy, we're overwhelmed, and there's a difference.